And thanks for joining in, everyone. The issues of bribery allegations against lawmakers, federal lawmakers in the National Assembly in the process of going about their duties, especially oversight functions and in budget process. The passage of budget has become a very big issue. Now, the National Assembly is reacting to what Professor Jega said about the fact that lawmakers get bribes before they can get to do their jobs. And he's not the only one who has said it. If you've read the book, Fighting Corruption is Dangerous, the story behind the headlines, the book that has just been published, released by a former finance minister, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. She's mentioned a few places in the book, portions that highlighted encounter and experience on the issues of corruption in the relationship between the National Assembly and the executive. And one perhaps that I want Honorable Abdulrazak Namdas, the spokesperson of the House of Representatives, to react quickly to, relating to what Professor Jega raised. Is this one, perhaps the fourth slide, if my producer may oblige. She says, and I quote, "My team and I fought against this unfortunate practice, but it was a bitter and losing battle. The National Assembly representatives in these budget discussions threatened not to approve the medium-term expenditure framework unless we reached some kind of compromise on the issue." It went further on part of the quote in the book. She said, "Anyone daring to protest the system or attempt to stand on the way is deemed a problem and treated as such. The ability of legislatures, bracket, often National Assembly leaders, end of bracket, to interfere with key parameters, introduce unprepared budgets, change projects, cost in the investment budget, and generally sequester monies for themselves while holding the budget hostage until their demands are acceded to or point to a process in need of drastic overhaul." This is from someone who has been in government. You say Professor Jega may have not been, well, you view discountenance that. What about the Minister of Finance, who had related with the National Assembly closely?
First, let me tell you that recently the former minister made a statement. She said clearly that she didn't mean bribe. She clarified on the matter. It's on the Twitter handle, it's in the media, that what she said was about budget. She didn't give money didn't exchange hands. It was about budget that they agreed with members of the National Assembly, that is in the 7th Assembly then. But that is not even the issue. The issue is this: how can people be in office? While they were in office, they were confronted with issues, and they failed to address those issues while they were in office. Now that they have left office, they decide to write books, deliver papers, give past comments. When they were supposed to have acted, they did not act. This is not a good service to Nigeria. I can tell you, people are trying to give dog a bad name in order to hang it. Political actors are trying to make sure that they punch the National Assembly. If you have issues with the National Assembly, if there are leaders who are already working, we have ministers, we have other chairmen or chief executive of agencies. If they have issues with members of the National Assembly, let them come forward while they are still in office and present the matter. You cannot leave office and after 2 years, 3 years, and begin to write books. We cannot be waiting for you to be reading your books 2 years after to come after.
Honorable Namdas,
will be more happier.
Sorry, if I may quickly ask you, clarify it for us, if you may. Is it just a matter of perception? Because one of your members raised an issue, especially in the process of budget, that there are a lot of corruption that goes on in the budget process. Is it just Nigerians or some Nigerians who perceive that there is a lot of corruption that goes on, or is it a reality?
I can tell you with all clarity that there is no any corruption that goes on with budget. What people get to listen to, if you talked about budget padding, people saying putting money, there are people who assume that billions of naira are put in the lawmakers' pockets. This is not true. Budgets are not done solely by members of the National Assembly. Although we have the right of the purse, but I can tell you that once the president laid the budget and we work on the budget, the president has to also assent to the budget. And that means he has gone through the budget, carefully studied, and has agreed with the budget. So it becomes law. So where did somebody just do something different? At those levels, they have opportunities for you to come out and say, I have insertion here, this is budget padding. Nobody has said that. And once the president has signed to a budget, it becomes law. So this issue of budget padding and stories that we are coming, we have told you that we cannot be padding. It is our job. So we cannot pad something. If it's our decision to make this, we work in consonance with the executive to see to it that this thing is done transparently.
Honorable Namdas, there is another issue. Is it also an issue of perception that the National Assembly gets too much compared to what they do? Is it also a matter of perception or is reality? Can you prove that, or can you tell what can you tell us about that?
Let me also clarify this. You should know that if you look at the national budget, in fact, the budget of the National Assembly is less than 3% of the national budget. Even if you take the entire 3% or less than 3% and you throw it inside river, you are left with 97%. So there's no much here. The budget of the National Assembly used to be 150 billion. So when, during the time of Nkojo, it was cut down to 130 billion. When the present administration came in, 5 billion was taken over in 2016. It came back to 115 billion. So you can see how it keeps coming down. And we have recently published our budget lines. Nigerians felt that there is need for us to come forward, and we brought it out. So I think I'm of the opinion that when people are making criticism, they should come out with concrete evidence. Because the parliament is the symbol of democracy. It has come to stay forever. So people should learn to work with the parliament. But once there is infraction, come out with credible information, not just bug person. I think that is where I have issues with.
Let us close on this note, Honorable Namdas, because some Nigerians, critics of the National Assembly, have raised issues about the lifestyles of lawmakers, especially how they're being funded, the monies for vehicles, the allowances, which are another set of issues generally. Would you say, considering the economic situation in the country, perhaps the National Assembly will be looking into cutting these kind of allowances that goes into millions and millions of naira?
Well, I don't understand the issue of lifestyle people are talking about. Sherwin, I must tell you that some of us, before we came into National Assembly, we have some of them that are former governors, former ministers, former commissioners, special advisors in their various states, some of them businessmen and what have you. But I think because we are close to the people at the center of government here in Abuja, and we are seated in one place, so it's easy for people to monitor you and feel that your lifestyle is different. But if you go to the states, you find other people's lifestyle are even higher. If you're talking of vehicles, some state assemblies vehicles are even more than the ones that the National Assembly bought. And you look at the minister, we don't have a budget, we don't give contracts. But people who are giving contracts are telling us that it's the National Assembly members that are taking bribes. I think it's unfortunate. Let's focus on people who give contracts. Who are those that give contracts? Who are those that are patronized? For us, we make law, and we stand at making laws.
Honorable Abdulrazak Namdas, spokesperson of the House of Representatives, many thanks for your time on the program tonight. But that's our show for today, everyone. Many thanks for being part of it. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye-bye.